Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Local Keys and Contracts here. I'm Keanu, co-host Gabe, and we have our guest today, Eli Mongold with NEO Innovative. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Welcome, Eli.
Thank you, Key. Appreciate it. Thank you as well. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what you currently do.
So I am the CEO of NEO Innovative Consulting Services. We are a hard and private money brokerage firm. We do between 8 to 12 million a month in loans. It's about 110 pieces of paper move in monthly. And that's the bulk of our business is here in Northeast Ohio. I mean, we do service all 48 continental states, but I love doing loans in my own backyard.
Yeah, and I think people like working with local lenders as well that, know the market and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like my entire apparatus is local, you know what I mean? Like the AMC board for appraisers I use, they're all local, and a lot of the people on that panel are investors themselves. My funders themselves are from all over the world, but I'm the one who kind of does like that first brush to make sure that the deal actually makes sense. And especially like out-of-state investors that are coming here, they love to know that not just on the real estate side, people running their numbers for them, but the people that are actually getting the deal done, funding it, and making sure that things are all there. We are in their backyard as well. And we're a consultancy firm on top of that. So like we have, the realtor connections, I bounce clients off of one another. We have contractors, we have property management companies. We even do business brokering services. Like if you're buying into an LLC for a commercial building, we have an attorney on retainer that can assist you with setting up entity docs if you need it. Like we try to be as white glove as humanly possible.
So you're providing the client with the full package experience that I think is very important, because you need like all the pieces of the puzzle to kind of fit together.
Correct, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like I've been investing in real estate for a very, very long time personally. So I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk, and I utilize my own programs too. So like if I introduce a new funder that I sell to my clients, I work with them first personally before I start selling their products, so that way I can intimately understand it. Because any lender in the world is going to come and, I mean, we've probably all heard it. And there's lenders that you guys as realtors, you see a pre-approval or proof of funds from, you're like, I'm not working with that guy. Yeah. But they get people on the phone, they get applications, like they can sell it, but it's nice to know that they're actually real.
100%. Now you were a realtor before you became a lender as well, right?
Yes, I was a realtor before I became a lender. I was an investment-only realtor. I worked with a handful of investment funds, syndications, and gap-funded LLCs buying properties. I was doing 50, 60 transactions a month. So not as much as I was doing here, but I was definitely doing a lot of it. And, I've seen the side of these larger investment companies, and I've seen the side like as the realtors, I love realtor referrals. I especially love your guys's. And they, I know where you guys are at. So like, I try to work with the realtors, I know the position you're in. We over communicate with our realtors to make sure they understand. Key will tell me like, hey, I don't need, it's fine. I appreciate it, but like that's a you thing. Just because I know as realtors, like you guys are the project managers of the deal. When the borrower has a question about a title company issue, a lender issue, an appraisal issue, an inspection issue, a contractor follow-up issue, who are they calling first? They're calling you guys. So I like to put as much info in your head, not to offload it from myself. I over communicate with the borrowers as well, but so that way when you guys get that initial call, right, you don't have to be like, I don't know, I guess call Eli. And then like their anxiety is extended even further. So.
And well, that's one of the things I love working with you is you're very good with your follow-up. Like he'll even follow up with me and I'll be like, yeah, I'll get to Eli. You know what I mean? But like, that's a good thing though.
Correct, yeah.
But like, that's something like and you being a realtor too, like that side of the game.
Correct, yeah.
But that's like the one thing I love about you is your follow-up game. And it's nothing crazy. It's just like a text a day, like, hey, how's Joe Smith doing?
Correct. Yeah. Or when you send me a cold lead, like, because I know you send me a lot of email introductions for the leads, like what's the longest one has gone between a response, like an hour at most or something like that. And it's just because I'm doing something like this, I don't drop everything at the sight of them just because, we have loans we're trying to get closed up. But I like to, it's part of, as a realtor or a wholesaler or something like that, like, the not excitement of a deal, but like these things move quickly. And like if you've got a guy and you've got a property for him and you need to get him financed and you need to get him closed, like I have to keep pace with that. I can't just sit there and stare at it while I do something else. So.
Sure. Communication, I feel like, is one of the most pivotal pieces within all of it, because God forbid when you're holding somebody who is just going through a loan, especially an investor that has a million other things going on, or something along those lines. It's like they're really depending on you to be able to facilitate back and forth. And it's a synergistic situation where everybody has to work in cohesion, or that borrower is getting phone calls and getting very, very pissed off or freaked out on what's going on.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, how do you end up, was that something that you just sort of saw as a major need on why you switched over to the lending side, or it was more so from times during Realtor?
Yeah, I mean, it's a multifaceted change. So initially, like on the real estate side of things, a lot of the deals that I were doing, you know, as an investment agent, a lot of the deals I were doing were off market. And it really isn't only until the last, I'd say like 2 years, that there are certain brokerages that are getting more comfortable with the idea of licensees participating in off-market deals. There are still a lot of brokerages out there that don't let you get into them. You have to hide it and everything like that. So I know you guys here at Local, like I know even your broker will get involved in the off-market stuff, which is huge. It's incredible. So, but you know, like the Remaxes of the world and stuff, they get so freaked out about it. And so number one, I was like heavy in, like my real estate career was heavy in that time where a lot of brokers, like I had to get a special exception from my broker simply because I'm like, hey, do you like the split dollar that I'm bringing you with everything I'm doing? Like, let me do the wholesale deal. Let me JV and I'll cut you in kind of deal. So that was getting a little annoying because, like, you know, I wanted to move a brokerage, and the brokerage I moved to was not okay with it, and trying to facilitate all of that, number one. Number two, I also dabbled a lot in commercial real estate. And in Ohio, you can be both. You can be the lender, you can be the realtor when you're doing a commercial deal. There's a lot of paperwork that's involved. I don't recommend people like on their first commercial deal trying to do the lending as well. Like it'll blow up and you'll look like an idiot, but like it is possible. So like I started doing the brokering at that point in time because it was like I could do both, and I liked having control freak. You know, you guys will like it if you get loans from me that I can be a control freak with my funders and everything like that, just because like I like to know what's going on and have the most information at hand as possible. But and then I started a real estate team, and that's actually what introduced he and I originally. Was I was trying to poach him to come over with me.
Yeah, I was gonna join his commercial wing.
Get out. Okay.
So, but no, I was trying to. I had my real estate team and I had the commercial side of things, and I was primarily just marketing as like the investment team of Ohio, like for all these California and Israelis and stuff coming in, as that was the brand that I was trying to build. But when you work with investors, you're going to work with flippers. And when you work with flippers, sometimes you're going to end up listing a property, and you guys have been in real estate long enough to know that the listing of a property and the buying of a property are two totally different mechanisms. Like it's why there are people that specialize in either or. Like at the end of the day, you're realtors, but like there's so much nuanced skill that goes into different facets of what we do. And I wanted to keep that business in-house. What flipping buyer agent doesn't want to get the listing afterwards, you know? So we had built a small apparatus around listings. And then with the flippers that I had, I was like, well, as a private or hard money broker, you can wholesale to your borrowers. And a lot of these guys, I was helping find them off-market deals, of course, through wholesale. So I would find them the off-market deal as the wholesaler, not as the licensee, which, you know, there's, you know, things with that. But I would help them find the deal. I would finance the deal as the wholesaler and the lender, and then I would still get the listing on the tail end of it. And so that's where like the fix and flip bridge, like where I've kind of done the bulk of my business was. And then slowly but surely, the investment funds, the syndications I was working with, like, you know, one of them was only a 2-year fund. It was like 50 million that they had to spend. Another one was 300 million they had to spend. Another one was just like, I think they had 2 million from like one guy that they would use to fund their down payments and stuff. They just left the market. And all I had left was this brokering that I actually was really good at, and I was doing pretty well with. And I was like, you know what? Let's just hang up the spurs as a realtor and transition to this and utilize the same connections and expertise.
And you were even doing the lending side before, like you're doing it like for like a year or two. If we
Correct.
Yeah,
it's about 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a crazy transition. It was
No. It's just taking the scalability, and like that's how I built my team. You know, like I was heavy on admin staff. We had more admins than we had agents, and it wasn't because you know, I couldn't get agents to want to join me, even though this guy said no. But
I mean, I was considering.
I know,
that.
I'm being silly, but how dare you? That's what this whole thing is about. Funny. No, it's a.
This is a rude awakening for you.
But no, it was more because like I want to give like myself, and I have 4 account executives and a business development manager. Like I wanted to give my agents, like I just want them to focus on revenue production, talk to leads, get more leads, bring those in, like, and let the rest of it kind of handle itself. So I just literally uprooted my team, dropped it over here with the funding, just a couple different acronyms we had to learn, but it was all basically still the same. And now here we are.
It's awesome.
How was that transition for you? Was it essentially like you would just still pivot off the same clientele that you were sort of working with on the realtor side, or you just started to kind of shift around? And how did marketing start to shift for you as it went?
Honestly, like for the first like 18 months from this company's inception, like it really was like it was all the same referrals were coming to me because like 90% of the business I did was off market. So it's like as a non-licensee, it's zero way does that remove me from being able to participate in those. And I had the added benefit of telling either my wholesale partners that I work with, like, hey, you're gonna work with a guy that gets deals done and has the buyer base. And now I have control over the funding, which that's like where all these deals come to a head to be at the end of the day. So it's like now you're working with a guy who has total control over the deal. So they loved that. And then my buyers were like, oh yeah, like I know how to run these numbers. I know how to get these things done. Like it really didn't have any issue with that. The only change in marketing was just getting people to stop calling me to like, hey, can you show me this house on Saturday? Like that was really the biggest hiccup. So, but we actually just hired Simon Pereira. He's our new business development manager. He manages our social media, goes to events locally and everything. He's like our main marketing guy right now. His job is to push everything out. So
nice.
Mm-hmm. How many pieces of content are you usually doing a day? Like as you're kind of getting things started, getting things running, and you've been in business for God knows how long?
I've been in real estate a very long time. I was licensed for 6 years before I shacked it up. So,
okay. So this isn't is it multiple pieces of content, or is it essentially like you're mostly doing like pay-per-click type things? Like what type of direction are you usually leaning towards?
Well, I mean, starting a new company, I had to cast a wide net. You know what I mean? I spend money on Google ads. I boost posts on Facebook and Instagram. I dabbled in paying for Bigger Pockets leads for a little bit, and just try to churn those things out. But I like real content and stuff. Like I'm not good with that. Like I can't. I don't have the person. Like this is perfect where we just sit down and have a conversation. Because like intense real content.
This is more natural than like here's your prompt, 30 seconds.
Let's go. Yeah, like I can do this no problem. But Simon, he used to be a finance manager for a car lot, and he built his business on abusing the algorithm on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And so I think so far since he's joined us, he's been with the company like 2 weeks. He put a plan together week 1, and we already have like 4 pieces of content and a 10-week plan on how much he's gonna pump out. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's phenomenal. So let's switch gears here, and I kind of want to. This is for like the first time investors. What advice would you give the first time investor with, maybe looking to just get their feet wet, right? Not looking to do a heavy renovation flip.
Yeah.
Just getting their feet wet. What advice would you give them?
I'm going to give them chasing after the Burr method. Multi reasons, but the main reason why the Burr method I think is important for new investors is it's the only investment strategy in residential real estate where you actually get to see every facet of every other sector of a real estate investment. Because if you're flipping, you're reverse engineering what to pay for it by going, what's my ARV? How much do I have to put into it? Okay, this is what I can pay for it. That's what a flip is. You have to do that for the Burr, so that way you can achieve that number on the refinance. Then it is, and all the facets of can we get it done fast enough to not have a market shift out from underneath us, blah, blah, blah. And then you have to introduce yourself to a property manager and how they work and how their fees are structured and, the ups and downs and headaches you can dealing with the wrong ones, until you find that perfect one. Then you have to deal with tenant blues and the clogged toilets and everything like that and all those issues, which that just comes naturally.
Sure.
And then you have to go through the refinance process, which with a side of a couple of different nuances, like, if you purchase a property with a DSCR loan, like the same things we look at on a refi are basically the same that we look at on a purchase. So you're already learning that and going through the process of maybe having an appraisal come in a little bit lower because you took 6-7 months to get the work done, and oh crap, I learned that lesson, blah, blah, blah. And then you get your cash back to you from the refi, and then you can turn around and recycle that capital into a snowball effect to grow your portfolio. So that's why I think BRRRR's the best.
And that's what, these people, they want to recycle that capital. So that's a big thing with the BRRRR method. In terms of property type, would you recommend single family or a smaller multifamily, like a 2 to 4 unit?
Only thing I'd recommend with property type right now is just staying away from commercial.
Okay.
I think they think apartment buildings saying they have that sounds sexy. But commercial is a very volatile market right now. There are 49,000 commercial mortgages in default, totaling a little over $1.1 trillion in bad debt.
Wow.
And so the rates are egregious. Like, even if you're experienced, even if you've got great credit, even if you've got a bunch of money in the bank, like, I mean, I've got a guy who has, I'm refinancing one on, in Ohio City. It's a multifamily, but it's like 16 units. I mean, this guy has 250 total. He's got $2 million in the bank, and the rate is still in the mid-9s. Like, it's, what I mean? It's hard to make them cash flow. And when you're dealing with apartment buildings, a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's just like having 20 single family homes. It is not. You have one water heater leak on the top floor. The cascading 3 floors need mold mitigation stuff now and everything like that. And when you have barely any money left over to pay for things, like, it's just all cash flow leaving. So it's like, yeah, you get to tell all your friends when you go out to the bar, oh, I've got a 20-unit apartment building. Do you make any money from it? And probably not, is what you think.
And that's a topic I actually want to dive into, is why buy a 20-unit apartment versus buying a 20-unit portfolio, single family portfolio? Like, it seems like a much safer option to do the 20 single families, right?
Every investor, because talking about new investors, talking about scaling investors, like I probably have one conversation with them a week where it's like, I'm trying to get into apartments, man. Let's make it happen. And I always have to temper that, where it's like, hey, you're investing to make money. And I mean, I still help people with commercial purchases. I'm not saying that, like, don't do it absolutely whatsoever, but like, you've got to steal that property effectively. It's got to have a lot of work put into that property prior to you buying it, so that we don't have a massive CapEx bill that's going in.
And I'm assuming it's flavors and nuances within all of it that you kind of have to end up realizing, because it's like not all roads are paved with a gold layer going through.
Yeah, no, I mean, use the parking lots for an example. Go just, randomly, if any of you guys live in an apartment, just pretend like you're the property manager and call for a quote on replacing the asphalt. I promise you, a parking lot this size, this would be a $40,000 parking lot. And like, the cities will get involved. Like, if enough of your tenants complain that there's too many potholes in your parking lot, sometimes the city will, especially we're here in Cleveland, where they can be a little more aggressive. Like, they will start sending you letters like, hey, you know what I mean? It's time to get that fixed. So, yeah, I would definitely say staying in the portfolio realm, only because like the rates are more favorable. So, not to boast, but my 30-year rates on low doc loans, I don't need to see your tax returns, I don't need to verify your income, are in the low to mid 7s right now on 30-year fixed debt. So why, like, buy 20 homes that the CapEx is way cheaper, because you don't have as much risk factor of a multitude of people in a building, and have way more cash flow out of it. Wait for the economy to kind of go through this cycle that it's going through, because we see the 7-year shift since our country's inception. We see a 7-year shift with rates and values and everything. Just wait for us to be on the high side of the swing, and then start grabbing things from there.
Where are we at now? We're on we're probably on the low end of that swing. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say we're teetering past it. Like 6 months ago, I would refied somebody's auto garage at an 11.5%. Right? Okay. Like, that, I was like, this is a bridge, this is a fix and flip loan rate. You know what I mean? And they're taking out 525, which is an ARM product. If you guys are, that's what I'm telling a lot of my commercial guys to do, is like, take out an adjustable rate, because I mean, every financial analyst, Yahoo, Crexy, LoopNet, like, if you read the articles that are on their websites, all of them are screaming in the next like 4 to 5 years, these rates should hopefully taper, like once we're out of the foreclosure cycles and everything like that, things get offloaded. So take the 525 ARM, have the 5-year term, have the lower rate, because you're doing, a 5-year loan instead of a 30-year fixed loan. They do hit you harder, or take it easier on in the rate. And you're going to want to refinance it 4 or 5 years anyways.
Sure.
So, like, why not at least make it more advantageous for you?
That makes sense.
I mean, whenever you're dealing with these types of things, like, my biggest curiosity, I was just telling Kate, for whatever reason lately, I don't know why, and if you've been experiencing this on the loan side, it just feels like underwriting and certain things have been asking for different different odd docs or it taking longer or stretching longer. And I don't know if you've been experiencing that on your side too, where it's just oddities that have been going on and not necessarily sure, but it's like flavors of, is there something pending, something that's coming? Like what's going on? I'm just curious.
It's I have seen that on the underwriting side of things. Yes. I mean, even though I'm lending on commercial or residential assets, the loans are still considered commercial. And like I had mentioned with the volatility of the commercial backed securities market, it is volatile all the same. And people are, the banks are responding in tow. They might be asking for a little bit more stuff, you know, this, that, and the third. I think if you're dealing with that frequently, like you might be dealing with either like a lender that doesn't know their own guidelines or a broker that like this. There's two different types of mortgage brokers in the world where it's like I only work with 6 funders for like the, you know, near 100 million in business I do. Most brokers, they have like 50 lenders that they just spat things out to try to beat the next guy by 50 bips. And it's like, hey, yeah, instead of my rate being a 7.5, it's a 7.25, which is, by the way, $18 a month almost on a $100,000 mortgage. So like, whoop-de-doo, you know what I mean? But like, they get to say they got the lower rate in the Facebook comment when they are marketing, but they have no idea what these lenders actually look for. They don't know how real they are. They don't know what's going, and so they're taking everything as a guess. The way that I've been getting ahead of that, because I have been seeing that, is part of my intake process. I actually hired an internal underwriter. Now I look at the files as well. He and I work in tandem, but we take in a lot of files. So I had to have, you know, I have to have somebody who offloads it for me primarily. And he has all of the guideline checklists for everything that it takes for all 6 of our funders to get a loan closed. And, you know, for DSCR, that's only 4 of them. 2 of them are bridge. For commercial, that's only 2 of them. So like, he's not comparing against 6 guideline checklists each time, but he will compare it against all of our funders' checklist, everything that we get taken in up front, like through our portal that people submit things to. And our funders love us because then we start an email thread with like a drive link, a OneDrive link, and we're like, here's an entire file. Go ahead, get that closed for me, big dog. We'll just wait on the appraisal and then we'll go from there. But like, we drop everything on them at once.
Nice. That's a phenomenal way of doing it, just so that then you could just reference that anytime they have questions or stuff pops up. So, oh my God.
It's 90% of the emails we get is like, hey, can you send that bank statement from July? You mean this one that we sent on July 10th? Like, yeah, right here. You know what I mean? So. But we even like organized the drive link where it's like, you know, bank statements, June, July, and blah, you know what I mean? Leases, 12 months, month-to-month agreement, or an estoppel, blah, blah, blah. And if we're missing something that it's like, we can take care of while we went on the appraisal, we'll still submit it, you know what I mean? Like if it's a little odds and ends thing. But yeah, no, it just comes with having intimate knowledge of what your funders actually want to see.
Well, it's phenomenal that you're doing things like that, because one of the most annoying parts, and I'm sure you had it with a realtor, is there's one doc, like you need a letter, a certificate, or something along the lines of good standing for the LLC, and you're waiting for that to come in, and so you're stuck now.
It'll take 2 weeks for them to get it.
It'll take 2 weeks because it's got to come through mail. Oh wait, you can get it electronically
on the Secretary of State website. Yeah, like if you don't know, like that's, I can't tell you. People submit all their documents in. That's the biggest one they miss, is the certificate of good standing. My intake processor, her name is Monica. She's a rock star. She'll just, whatever, just go on the Secretary of State site and then grab it. But we don't even have to ask the borrower for it. So, but that's just coming with it being local, you know, and like knowing where to go for those specific things. So, and then we have an attorney on retainer. So like if our people don't have an LLC set up, for $500, he'll file you at the state. He'll get you an EIN. He'll type you up an operating. I think you worked with him. Is now Benson, yeah. So like, he sets all that up for you, and then he sends it like to you. You sign it, you send it to me, and it's just a final product. You don't have to wait 1,000 years for it to get done. So,
it's awesome. What is, so as an investor, let's switch gears again. As an investor, what's your experience been like investing yourself, whether it be flips or rentals? Just tell us about like, you know, your life as an investor.
Of course, yeah. I mean, as I was mentioning earlier, market shifts, you know, they are real, and I am happy to say that I've been doing this long enough to where I've seen a handful of those cycles. With the cycle that we're in right now, it's definitely changed where I've been at. You know, like coming out of COVID with flipping, I mean, I'd make you sick if I told you how much money I made flipping in COVID, but that's because all you had to do is, you just had to be the first to get the deal, and you could basically make up your own ARV. And If the appraiser didn't agree with it, the buyer's made up for it. It's like, whatever, I just want a house because my rate's 2.5%. That was awesome. But with flipping, say, like, the Q3 transition into Q4 of last year, I actually had a meeting with one of, if not the top listing agent in our state. We grabbed coffee because he lives locally to where I'm at. And his biggest thing, because I was like, dude, I have these flips that like I did good work on. Like they look great, you know what I mean? Like, and they're in markets that like great schools, like stuff that people should be, but like where's nobody at? The election. For some whatever odd reason, everybody thought that when Trump took office, when he won in November and he was gonna take office in January, they thought he had this like lever under the Resolute desk where it could be like, rates are no longer 7%. There's those fours you've been waiting on. And so like nobody bought anything from November to this. I mean, you could see it in the MLS data if you guys haven't looked it up already. Like it just froze. And as a guy who takes out bridge loans on his flips, that's a nail biter.
All right, so let me ask you this. What happens if there's just no comps within the area? What do? They just expand out further?
The appraisers, you mean? Or
yeah, the appraisers, yeah.
Yeah, so the appraisal timeline, or not timeline, the appraisal like path of travel, at least from what I've seen it doing, what I've done is, firstly, they're going to look at within a quarter to half a mile within the last 90 days, apples to apples comparison home. So if you have a Cape Cod that's a 3-bedroom with 1 bathroom, they're going to be looking for Cape Cod's 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom within a quarter of a mile sold in the last night, a quarter to half mile sold in the last 90 days. And then kind of like the potato peel as they can't find things is, okay, we can't do it in 90 days. Let's go back 6 months.
Okay.
Let's still keep it at quarter, half mile. Okay, we can't find anything quarter to half mile. Let's push it out to 0.75. And they'll, but then in that 0.75, they'll shrink the sales timeline down to 90 days again to try to find that. If they can't find it, then they'll re-expand it. So it's like, they're like Russian nesting dolls in a way, where it's like they're constantly putting them in and out of one another until they find that valuation.
Yep.
And we are seeing like a softening in the market. Like I'm dealing with people right now where they bought a property, or not dealing with a handful of people right now that bought a property 7 or 8 months ago, and due to extenuating circumstances, contractor issues, tenancy problems, something that they didn't foresee when they did the initial walkthrough when they bought the property, like the work has taken them 7 or 8 months to get this thing done. Now they're ready to refinance, and now the values are 15% lower, and it's like blowing their whole deal up. You know what I mean? Like, and it's, look up the MLS data. We're in a seller's market right now, and when you see the seller's market pop up, or buyer's market, sorry, we're in a buyer's market right now. And naturally, in a buyer's market, the prices are going to start to decrease, especially when rates are staying where they're at.
100%.
I mean, one of the odd parts is with that shift. What's pivotal, especially for flippers, for burr buyers? What would you say are some of the tactics that you can start to kind of use, especially from your own personal experience, but also from other people that you've been working with? What are some of the things that you're seeing as ways that they can pivot, or we can pivot?
Of course, absolutely. Firstly is going to be, when you're getting your ARVs, don't try to solve for like a flat number, solve for a range, and solve for a range, but always do your math against the bottom of that range. Now, we're in a buyer's market, you're pricing to negotiate a lot of the time. So there are still some realtors that can achieve multiple offers. Like if you're in, Hudson Schools and you're 50,000 less than the next comp, like, yeah, you're going to get 20 people that are going to look at that thing. But we're investors, we're trying to make money. I don't want to take that gamble that hopefully it turns into a COVID fake auction, as I called it, so, during that time. But, here's your range for your ARV, solve for the lower one. And that's going to be the number you work off of. And make sure that those numbers that you're running are 90 days within a quarter mile, and then kind of play the appraisal game since then. Make sure that you have contractors that are not only capable of getting the work done quickly, but also efficiently. That means you're probably going to have to pay more. So if you don't have contractors in your Rolodex that are like the guys where, God, I love their work and God, they're fast, but oh, they kill every deal I try to do because they're so expensive. Those are going to probably be the guys you're going to want to work with, which means you might have to start solving for lower purchase prices eventually. But then when you go to list it, you can list it higher than that lower solved number, and you're pricing to negotiate, you're playing the game with the buyer that they already expected to play. And then you'll still might either land a little bit higher than your benchmark or your lower benchmark. If you don't have anybody in your Rolodex, or you're like, Eli, you're an idiot, I'm going to work with my guy who does, 2 layers of maintenance paint, 9mm flooring, and just call it an afternoon, then just solve for that lower ARV. And that's flips and burrs. I mean, like there's actually a deal that Keanu and I, like, it was funny. We both worked with the same buyer and we didn't know. And then we got introduced to that fact on this deal. And it's a similar situation where he took way too long to get the work done. He got hosed by a contractor. He's an out-of-state guy, so he can't check on it. And his ground team just, like he had a property manager that was going to take it over that just wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing, checking on it. So, you know, things could have been better, but the value came in. He thought it was going to be worth 145. A value just came in at 120. And, you know, I am all for doing a reconsideration of value, fighting the appraiser. Hey, if they're wrong, they're wrong, and I don't mind proving it to them. Just we actually have to prove it to them, right? You know, don't send me a house from a mile away that has an extra bedroom and go like, well, this one sold for 10 grand more, I bet. So, but like, you know, he sent me a range, and the range of it was 120 to 145. So he was right with his 145 calculation when he got there, but he did like a low grade rental flip. He painted the floors and he sprayed the walls and ceilings and didn't do anything with the cabinets, didn't do anything with the countertops. Like they're still beat up and everything. And it's like, yeah, can you achieve your Section 8 rent with that quality of flip? Sure. But when I have comps that I can see like, hey, 60 days ago, this one down the street sold for, yes, 145. That's literally was on the report you sent. But it had like gray LVP, it had Glidden premium paint in it, they painted the exterior, the lawn had mulch. Like the quality of your rehabs matter right now. Either that or just accept lower values or lower sale prices on your flips. It's just the nature of it.
I feel like that's the complication everywhere, is it's like people are just trying to push the bar, especially post-COVID, on how far they can impress the appraiser enough to be able to get the high dollar amount, but how low they can do the rehab, and how little they can do the rehab, and try to slap lipstick on a pig in a sense, so that you could kind of fool or play the numbers. But the issue too is the fact that it screws you in the end, because whenever you're doing something like that, I mean, tell me, like the stories that we've both heard, I know. But some investors will end up doing that, but then have issues with the tenants because most of the stuff is getting messed up over time, or God forbid, the values get thrown off. Like, have you been seeing the same thing? And what's your advice with all that?
Yeah, I mean, I have. Well, I mean, to touch on the appraiser point, like, yes, they think they can trick them and like pantomime it. My team and I, we have a standing Friday meeting at 3:30. So any repeat borrowers that watch this, when I don't answer your call at 3:30, that's why. One of the biggest like jokes we'll sometimes crack with one of with some of the reports we get in, like, because you send a little appraisal, great, I'm gonna have an argument for the next hour as if it's my fault, like I'm the one who appraised it, you know what I mean? But like I literally am like, oh, let me send this appraiser and get screamed at for the next 60 minutes. Like investors forget that appraisers are people and they're not running their numbers with confirmation bias. Like, you know, if I get, and my underwriter looks at this when we take bridge loans in, so like we try to help you avoid this problem, but like when you send in an underwriting matrix, which is like how we get you the most accurate terms, a couple questions, we ask you for 2 or 3 comps if it's a bridge property, so or bridge loan if that's a flip or a BRRRR. We ask you for 3 comparables and we'll look and see where your comps are at. And so many people will, and they'll be their first deal too, and they want to argue with it, where they'll be like, it's like, hey, so your subject is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom colonial. Why are you sending me a 4-bed, 2-bath with an extra 900 square feet that's a mile and a quarter away to justify that value? Just send it, just send it, just send it, just send it. And like the lender I work with on bridges, they do their own internal valuation, but they will like sliding scale it, you know what I mean, to the comps you have, where it's like, because they're all the way across the country. They're like, well, maybe you know more than I do, you know what I mean? Yeah. So like they'll at least take you at your word for it. They won't put you in a bad situation. Like you know, if you're way off, like they're not going to let you do that. But you know, I've made cases where it's like, no, I think that's a good comp for XYZ reason. It's in the same pocket neighborhood. It's in the same school district, even if it's not in the same zip code, whatever. So, because Cleveland I know can be, so Akron especially too, with Cleveland. But like these appraisers aren't looking at these deals to give you your number. They're looking at what the facts are actually. And so if you're chasing after, like if you like, I refuse to believe this thing isn't worth 120 and I'm gonna do everything in my power to find comps everywhere across Ohio to make this thing 120, the appraiser's not gonna care. They're like, hey, I'm looking at this data that I have pulled, and like they write in their furious statements, like they write the conditions of the market as they're getting everything typed up, and you know, this, then, the third.
So our guy at 120, Do you think if you would have put granite countertops in, new LVP throughout, new Glidden paint throughout, do you think it could have, approached that 145 number potentially?
I think so. That was something that he and I ran an extrapolation of. And then what I actually assisted him with was like, so we got a quote from a contractor to do those different things, putting in nicer countertops. We were going to do Corium, not quartz. You don't want to give or granite, you want to give a Cleveland 10 and granite, but I'm kidding.
You're going to be on the news next.
Yeah, I'm going to have that.
Eli does not accept granite.
But no, yeah, like we ran an extrapolation of like, all right, so you do all these things, it's going to be $15,000 for you to get all that done from where you're at now, especially working around a tenant. Like there's going to be more labor just because there's more stuff to move around. About 15K is where it came in at. Right. So he's at 120. So it's like, all right, you can put in 15K to pump your value up from 120 to 145. But like in a cash out refinance scenario, a penny saved is not necessarily a penny earned, it's a percentages game. So like 75% of 145,000 is not 120,000 plus 25 grand. Like it's a totally different one. So like effectively he's gonna spend 15 to make 15. And so what I thought was like, because his bridge loan's a little like, because how long it took him to get it, like his bridge loan's a little bit higher than or the rate that, or the loan amount I can give him on the refi is like right at the cusp of what his payoff is going to be. And he was expecting a big juicy cash out. And so it's like, he might actually have to bring some money to the table in a certain scenario, like just depending on what loan type he ends up taking. So we gave him a couple options, but it's like, spend the 10 grand now. And with the net monthly cash flow you're making with this place, make that back up in 12 months. And then you'll still have that infinite cash on cash return that you want with a burn method. You just have to wait an extra year. And you didn't have to gamble on you doing a bunch of work and then me sending an appraiser out there over the course of the next month. Because like, what if the market continues to dip? What if another appraiser goes out there to look at it and they have a completely different idea of the value? They're only calling it 135 and now you're even more screwed. It's like, take the lower loan amount to squeeze more out of your cash flow instead of trying to push it up, for like the sake of saying you have this house that owns this much and just kind of move on from there. It's like, it's a numbers game, what we're doing. Like, don't let your ego get in your way. Like, God, I was wrong on my value. Like market change blues, man. You guys go on listing appointments with residential sellers. Like my neighbor's house a year ago sold for this. What do you mean it's this? It's the same conversation. Like, yeah, it happens. It's the market, man. I don't have a crystal ball. I got a magic 8 ball and I talk to it every day, but I don't have a crystal ball. And hoping that, I don't know, like hoping that investors can understand that like a lot of these guys that they started during the COVID era because they all saw that like big burly guy with the beard in the log cabin who was like, I bet 10 grand on a piece of paper. And they all, I swear there's this huge influx from California to Ohio in 2020. And like none of them are really having an easy time swallowing this horse pill that it's like, you can still make money doing it. There are people who made money investing in real estate 200 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's you can do it in any market swing. I mean, dude, there was a guy in the 2008 crash. I was a part of a transaction where this guy he sold his construction company and he bought 100 homes in Canton, Ohio during the 08 crash. He paid like 5, 6, 7 grand a house.
Wow.
It was bananas. And then he sold it was 105 houses all at once to one buyer for $4 million. How many people do we all know personally whose families were affected by the 08 crash? You know what I mean? Diamonds form under pressure. Like there's only, like you can make money happen in real estate regardless of where it's at. You just can't get hard stuck and like, well, it worked in COVID. Like it did. You're right. It did work in COVID. I don't disagree with you. It doesn't work right.
Right. Market's constantly changing. Like I've been in real estate 4 years, so not as long as you, but like I've realized like everything's always changing. You gotta, whether it be like these new NAR laws or whatever,
yep.
Or I remember I got in 2022, then 6 months later they're all talking about the shift, which we're now really starting to see now. That's when it started, and my first 6 months I sold like 15 houses, then it went back to normal. That wasn't normal, 2020 to 2022, that wasn't normal.
Yeah, it's I started real estate before COVID, and like it was a regular market prior to COVID, relatively regular. So heavier-ish buyer's market, but all the same, pretty regular. Like I got to see a full real estate cycle where it was like, every December you think you're going out of business because you got Christmas, you got like no one's doing anything. Every July it slows down because it's vacation season. They want to go hang out, not worry about their houses and blah 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 blah. Back to school time, you see a slowdown just because they're getting the kids back in. During COVID, it was just like, oh, I'll be there at 2, I'll be there at 3, I'll be there at 4. Like you were 12 hours at, you know what I mean? Like marriages were getting ruined because people were working so much as COVID realtors. So like, yeah, man. So it's like regular now, but you proved yourself, like in those moments, you proved like I'm the guy to call, you know what I mean? Like, I can make that happen, but I don't know, man. It's a weird one for sure.
And one other thing with that, kind of like pivoting over to that, on the investor side, really when you're doing BRRRRs now, what would you suggest, especially coming from the loan side? Now you're saying jump into the residential. You're saying when you're shooting into the residential, make sure that the rehabs are accurate.
Yeah.
What's the other component of that with regards to contractors and with regards to like making sure the rehab is good, but also are you helping with giving those draws as they're coming through? What's the check process?
Yeah, I mean, like a checks and balances. So like when it comes to, yes, our bank does pay draws. We fund 100% of your renovation, but it is on a reimbursement model. We have to see the work being done before we'll pay you. But that doesn't necessarily affect how you have to pay the contractor. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes the contractor's not willing to wait on the bank to pay you back.
Sure.
We take 3 days to fund it, but I mean, we've all worked with enough contractors where like they're calling you as soon as they turn the truck on, like Zell me, dude. And if you've got a good one you want to do, you're like, Jesus. Dude. I gave a contractor once, like he was a month behind on the job, and I walked into the house with his check. I'm like, all right, man, looks good, thank you. I was happy, right? Like, hey, it looks good. Shit happens. He was a guy I knew. I saw the app, my Chase app, say that he deposited that check. I'm not even kidding. He closed his truck door, and then I looked down at my phone. It was like, your check to this guy was. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like they get screwed so much by homeowners and investors, all this stuff. So, like I get why they're like that. But my favorite form of checks and balances with a contractor right now is like, gone are the days of the 50% deposit. I actually personally been robbed by contractors for like 6-figure sums by doing the 50% model. Like, and they'll say that's just for the materials. No, it isn't. It's because you had a job that you're doing that's getting out from underneath you, and you have to continue to flip. They're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul. I got to pay this guy. Oh shit, this happened. I got to pay this guy. Oh shit, this guy stole from me. So I got to go buy another tool. Like they're constantly, it's a terrible position to be in. Like I get it. I have one very close friend who owns a general contracting company. It's like I see the man behind the curtain with it. But even so, like, I'm not financing that shit. Like that's all, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, man, like your blues are not mine. I'm just trying to get a job done here. So the way that I do it, and it's impossible for them to argue with you, in my opinion, a lot of the time, is like I pay them the first, like I'll make a $50,000 job. I'll make it have like 7 draws because I'll like, what do you need material wise for the next 2 weeks? Okay, there's the amount for that. And then on the second draw, I'll walk it. I will ensure that it's done and it's done to standard. And then I'll pay them for the labor for that. And then the materials for the second round of what they need to do. And then I'm checking on the properties, and I'm local, so I know a lot of out-of-staters don't have this ability, unfortunately, but I'm walking my properties 2, 3, 4 times a week. It sucks because I have to email from my phone, so it's very annoying because if I take an hour away from my laptop, it always kills me, but it's what you got to do. You got to be efficient. And so I check on them frequently and pay them in that way, and then making sure, like, if you work with a new contractor, you're never gonna know, you know what I mean, like what the quality of work is or everything like that. But if you pay them in that way, you can kind of like, you can fire them and bring someone else in, and there's really not a lot of interruption to like the finances of like the economics of the deal itself, where it's like, hey, I paid for materials for this guy to do it, and he only did half the labor. Like, well, the materials are installed, he did half the labor, I'll give him half a labor payment, I'll kick him out the door, and then I'll bring somebody else in, and all they have to do is pick up after him. And they don't have to pick up like a large rehab. It's like, oh, he tore the drywall out. I mean, I'll send my daughter in to tear the drywall. You know what I mean?
Or 25% of your draw is out, and the one contractor who did the stuff apparently did a horrible job.
Yeah,
and now you have to get a whole new group in to rip all that out. And all that has to be on the investor's dime now because part of the draw was already taken.
Yep. And you can't go back to the bank and be like, hey man, I got screwed. They're like, I don't care. Like, that sucks, you know what I mean? I want to help out, but
you're on the phone again for an hour.
What do you mean you can't give me an extra 20 grand for this job? Kind of blows the, and like I will say, like, there are scenarios where it's like, you know, if you get such a screaming deal on a property, like, you know, we'll loan up to, you know, a certain level of the project cost to a certain ARV. Like, we'll give you up to 70% ARV and then 85 to 95% loan to cost. So like what you're buying it for and you're rehabbing it for. So like if your total cost basis is only 50 and something like that comes up, then you can access that dollar. And we do have a line item on our submission sheet for our draws just called contingency, where it is just like, I took a wall down and I realized that I had a massive plumbing leak that I have to do a bunch of work for. Well, you can tap on that contingency. Like, we are understanding. We're like, yeah, that shit will come up. Just you got to either tell us that then or have enough room in the deal for us to be okay with it. Because if not, like, if it's a tight deal, it's even more so why you want to do that multi-tiered draw system with them. Because exactly like you said, it's on you now if you get stuck with that. And that sometimes it kills a lot of the deal. And then you're, you know, like, you're making $5 grand. You're like, Jesus, I just go work at Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, and this is the money I'm going to make doing this, all stressed out. Like, so, but just being preemptive in the way you handle them. So,
Okay, what's the as an investor craziest thing you've ever encountered? Whether it be a crazy tenant or
can I get, like, I mean, I know we're episode 3. Like, you were viewership has a strong stomach. Because I've got a
Dig deep, man. Come on.
Pull it out of me. Okay, I own a home in Canton.
Yeah.
And I recently had purchased it. And this was the only instance in my real estate buying career that I just bought the properties without even they're in my backyard. I live in Jackson Township, so like I could drive to Canton, takes 10 minutes. Yeah. But I knew the guy, trusted him, and he was selling them for such a premium that I was like, what's the worst? Yeah, they were tenant occupied, so it's like, all right, they have to be livable because the city of Canton is ridiculous with how they treat landlords and like the properties. Like, they're like, oh, it's a health and safety issue that you have your back of your garage needs scraped and painted. It's absurd.
Serious?
Dude, it's absurd. It's absurd. Have you done deals in Canton?
I haven't, no.
You don't want to.
I mean, like, well, it's like non-constitutional, some of the stuff they ask them for. Like, their code enforcement officers, dude, they will like put things on a violations list that they don't even have an ordinance code for. It's just them saying they think it needs to get done. And if you don't do it, in 30 days, they start fining you $100 until you get it done. And there are some, I had an instance, and I'll get to the story about the tenants thing too, but I had an instance where I sold a property to one of our Canton property owned, because I'm trying to get out of there because of the city, sold one of my properties I owned to a California investor. And he was just like a defunct investor, or a derelict investor. I mean, like, he didn't respond to their emails. He didn't respond to their calls, didn't respond to their letters. Like, he just didn't give a shit, basically. Yeah. They called me and they were like, well, you didn't make sure that you sold this property to a responsible investor. So they started assessing the fines for his incomplete violations onto me. I'd have my attorney, Jensen, send the city a cease and desist letter to be like, show me where in the United States or our state constitution that you are even kind of allowed to do that. And they didn't even admit defeat. They just stopped sending the letter. So like, I didn't get that, but you know what I mean? Like, it's absurd. So, but bought a home, Canton, didn't walk it because I trusted the guy, great price. Walking through, because like I finally closed. I'm like, let me go look at these houses I own.
Yeah.
And I stop in the kitchen as I'm walking through the corridor, and there's just like this, on the kitchen tile, there's just like this huge, I mean, it's gotta be like the length of your legs, like a good like 2, 3, 4 feet of just like puddle. And it's like someone spilled juice, kind of like that, congealed kind of, you know what I mean? Like sticky kind of stuff. Yeah. And like I could tell that by the sheen. I didn't touch it. Oh my God. But like, and it's a Monday. I remember this because of where my brain went when she mentioned this. I was like, oh, hey, what's this? What's going on here? She said, sorry about that. My pit bull gave birth on Friday and I haven't had a chance to clean it up yet.
Oh.
And then I looked down like this, and then under like the little area of the counter that was exposed was just like a little shoebox full of pit bull puppy.
Oh.
I was mortified.
Why would she not clean that up right away?
Lucky you didn't touch it.
I didn't touch it. And I just was like, I get it. You know, like,
I get it.
Yeah. Like, you know, life happens, man. I would leave the pit bull placenta on. Yeah. So yeah, no, if you're gonna If you're gonna invest in bird method real estate, be ready to step in some dog amniotic fluid. That's where the deals are at, man. I made out on those like crazy. I bought 4 of them. For $35,000 each. I put 10 grand into each of them. I sold them for 60 grand a house. All I had to do was step in dog amniotic fluid. Yeah. I mean,
Nice. What's like getting over that bender, especially with birds? Like, okay, when you're picking those and you're saying go for residential instead.
Yeah.
When you go for residential, the only issue is you can end up with a 20 pack portfolio or X amount, but you're gonna have them all over the place.
Mhm.
You know, unless you're really tracking and you get them all along the same street or something along those lines. How do you keep track with them all? Is it all just organized chaos within spreadsheets? Is there an easy method for you to get it together?
I mean, I do have control. So like I have personally, like I have a rehab tracker like template where it's like the date, is it a debit or a credit, like a HUD, you know, like did I pay it or did I get it back from the bank or a refund from the contract or whatever the case may be. And then like a short like line item as to what it is.
Sure.
And then I have all of, like say I buy a portfolio, like you said, where it's scatter site. I then have a summary sheet where it will pull like the most recent update on the most recent one for all of it. And then it will total all the debit and credits and then show me like a total running number for all of them.
Yeah.
And then I can click through the individual ones and like which one is a problem child, which one needs my attention today kind of thing. So, but also like if you're gonna get into something like that, get a project manager or hire like a larger general contracting crew that can, like they have PMs or field supervisors, whatever their titles are, that are in the nice truck that are driving around with their clipboard making sure shit's making time and everything like that. So
Got it.
that way, you know, if you're trying to manage like one crew at all 30, you've failed from the start. Like it's too much to do.
Got it. One major thing that's going on in your business right now. I mean, I just want to know, can you tell the people what's in the future? What is going to be, number one, best loan product out? And then at the same time too, what specifically can you tell them that's up next for your business?
Gotcha. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I hired Simon Pereira as our business development manager. Get ready to see him everywhere. He is going to be at local events. He is going to be all over Instagram, all over Facebook.
Billboards? Are you stealing John Williams billboards?
We will lend on crack houses. Get ready to see him.
Another thing on Cleveland 19 News. Eli.
Any price is good for us, man. But no, and then I mean our loan products as they sit right now. I mean honestly, like we actually just rolled out the 95% loan to cost program on our Burr Method and fix and flip products. You know, not every home applies to that. It's based on the asset experience liquidity. But we were happy to do that because our highest for a long time was just 90. So that's pretty awesome that we can kick it up to that. Our no-doc streamline loan is a couple of months old now, but I always like to bring it up where for commercial products, that's a commercial only, the no-doc streamline. All we need is financial data on the property to close the loan up. You know, we get the appraisal, we get the finances. It's like the easiest one that we can do. The rates are a little bit higher, of course, because like the underwriting scaling that a lender wants to do can extrapolate to their rates. But no, I really like that one a lot because a lot of people that I'm working with now, like I have a handful of them, like what's going on in my business in the intimate is a lot of people own, they own a commercial property that they want to refinance to use to buy. Like I helped somebody who owned an automotive restoration shop. I refinanced their auto restoration shop, pulled out like $400,000 for it, and they immediately turned around and put that on a portfolio purchase DSCR for a $1.2 million portfolio and like a B+ neighborhood. Like it was like quality, the bigger tenant base and everything like that. So I've seen a lot of that right now. But that no-doc streamline loan, we were able to get, I mean, an auto garage, you have EPA inspections, you have 2-layered appraisals and stuff like that. Like there's a lot that goes into commercial loans.
Yeah.
We got it done in 35 days for them to meet their contract deadline.
Huh? What? 35 days?
We're pretty happy.
How?
Just I mean, they were at a 10% rate, I will say, you know what I mean? Like that's why I keep prefacing like the commercial rates are a little bit higher, but I mean, even they took a 30-year option though. If they would have went with the ARM, it would have probably been a little bit cheaper. But even so, man, like it's a pretty common scenario right now. And we were able to meet their contract deadline. And that's been one of the best. I was one of the best deals for my career possible because it introduced me to a gentleman who sent me a lot of referral business as well. He's a real estate investment coach, and so I've been able to soak up a lot of that. So
just an FYI, like usually it's 60 or 45 at the latest. That's what. Well, that's the reason why I was just so surprised at 35. That's wild, my friend. And perfect. Genuinely, my friend. Like what? So how can people find you? Just go ahead, quick blurb. What's the best way to find you? What are the best things? Obviously, we're going to have it linked down all into the caption and comments and everything, all within whatever Nick's going to be able to do. But go ahead, quick blurb, and then we'll close out, my friend.
Gotcha. You can find me on Facebook, NEO Innovative Consulting LLC. You can find me on Instagram, NEO_innovative. You can find me on Google. We have 5-star reviews on there. And you can find us here locally in Ohio at the Next Best Event with Simon Pereira. So, yeah.
Sweet. Close us out, brother.
Thank you for joining us today on Local Keys and Contracts. Again, we had Eli Mongold, NEO Innovative, Gabe, myself, Keanu. But thank you again for watching, and see you again in a couple weeks.
Thanks, fellas. See you.
Thank you.